Guys, welcome back to the FPL Family channel, and today I will be deep diving into the Canaries, Norwich. So Norwich City promoted from the Championship last season. This is not their first tour of duty though. Some of you that have been playing FPL for a couple of years or monitoring the Premier League will know that Norwich were around a couple of seasons ago and were pretty good to us from an FPL perspective. They came up with quite a lot of good FPL assets, quite a lot of good FPL Twitter memes as well around certain person's party, of which I might touch on a bit later on. But I'm going to touch on how they finished up in the Championship last year, who were the key players, and actually some of the caveats around Norwich going into the new season, because a couple of key players leaving Norwich and some difficult fixtures to start the season. So could be a short video, guys, because I think we've got the opportunity to look at Norwich over the first 4 game weeks to see how they settle in and then have a look at them in terms of their fixtures. So get in the comments below. Let me know if you're going to have any Norwich players from game week 1. I suspect not, but let me know who's catching your eye from game week 4 onwards when the fixtures turn a little bit better. More on that later on. But first, let's have a look at how they finished up last season. So last season, Norwich in the Championship, very, very good indeed. 29 wins, only 7 defeats. Look at that goal for and goal against. So 75 goals scored, only 36 against. And there was a lot of rhetoric in the Championship last year about how fantastic Watford's defence was, only conceding 30 goals. Well, listen, Norwich weren't too far behind them on 36. And they had plenty of goal threat going forward, scoring 75 goals. So 29 wins plus 39 goal difference. So in the end, would you say 6 points is comfortable? I guess you would say 6 points. Reasonably comfortable over Watford in second place there. And let's have a look at their players. So Teemu Pukki, who was an FPL favourite from a couple of seasons ago, wasn't he? If I had £1 for every time I saw the Pukki party flashing lights meme on Twitter that season, I'd be a very rich man. But listen, 30 years of age. He's not got any younger, obviously, since the last time he was in the league. So he would have been 27, 28 last time. He's 30 now. So is he going to have the same impact in the league this season? I don't know. In the Championship, very, very good. 26 goals, 4 assists out of 39 starts, and managed to play a lot of minutes. Quite crucially, guys, for a player of his sort of age in that 30 bracket to get that amount of minutes is still pretty good. Didn't perform that great at the Euros. We did see a little bit of him in that Finland side. But listen, in the Championship last year, was pretty good. The key question for me around Pukki is, can he step it back up to the Premier League like he did a couple of seasons ago when he was a reasonable asset for us in FPL? One of the key issues surrounding Teemu Pukki is who is going to be creating for him. 3,316 minutes played for Buendia last season, 15 goals and 15 assists. What a machine this guy was, and I'm going to talk about him in a bit more detail later on because he's 6.5 in FPL this season, but doesn't play for Norwich anymore. He's got his transfer to Aston Villa, and he's absolutely one I've got my eye on as an Aston Villa asset. But from a Norwich perspective, it really, I think, I don't know, it just makes me feel far less comfortable having somebody like Pukki or Cantwell or any of the players that have remained at Norwich, because Buendia undoubtedly was the creative engine. You take 15 goals, but more importantly, 15 assists out of that Norwich team coming into the Premier League this season. I think it's going to be very, very difficult for the likes of Pukki and the likes of Cantwell to find the net more regularly without Buendia there pulling the strings. Another player I've got to consider, that you guys should consider, is Olly Skipp. Olly Skipp, the Spurs midfielder, very talented young player, was on loan at Norwich last season. And from what I understand, the stuff I've read, he was the enforcer in midfield. He was the one sweeping up, tidying up, making sure and creating the space so that Buendia could do the things that Buendia was doing. And Olly Skipp is going back to Spurs. I've seen him in pre-season training for Spurs in some YouTube videos pre-season for Spurs. So actually, no Buendia, no Skipp, 2 very key players for Norwich coming into the new season in the Premier League. I predict they are going to have a difficult season, guys. I think they will struggle to stay up. And actually, let's have a look in a bit more detail before we get to the fixtures at Buendia last season. As it said on the previous slide, he's managed to pick up an extra assist here. I don't know where these stats have come from, but got 15 goals, 16 assists. So listen, however many he's got, he was absolutely a key player for Norwich last season. As I said, 6.5 in FPL this year. So yes, he should be on your radar. But of course, he'll be an Aston Villa player. So if you've got some slots for Aston Villa players, you haven't used a 3-up, he is one to consider, but obviously not for Norwich. Look at that chances created stat there. 122 chances created by Buendia for last season. And if you look at his heat maps, he was all over the pitch, course, he preferred that right-hand side, but if you look at the corners as well, the little red dots in the corners, that suggests he was also on set pieces for Norwich. So is the quality of set pieces going to go down for Norwich? Is his energy, clearly he's got a lot of energy, right? Look how all over the pitch he is on that heat map. Are they going to miss his energy? Are they going to miss his creativity? I think yes. And actually, let's now have a look at the fixtures. Let's lay over the fixtures as well from a Norwich perspective. The first 4 game weeks look about as hard as it gets from a Norwich perspective. Look at this. Liverpool, Man City away, Leicester and Arsenal. Very, very difficult fixtures. And I remember when Norwich were in the Premier League a couple of seasons ago, the opening fixture was Liverpool. Admittedly, it was at Anfield a couple of seasons ago and they lost 4-1. I think Salah did pretty well out of it. I think Grant Hanley got an own goal, if I remember rightly, to open the scoring. First goal of that season, if I remember rightly. They had a torrid time, and I predict they're going to have a torrid time again for the first 4 game weeks. But from an FPL perspective, I think that suits us as FPL managers, because what we can do then is we can sit, watch. My advice would be don't go into Norwich game week 1. Have a look at how the likes of Billy Gilmore, who's on loan from Chelsea, can he pick up the mantle from Ollie Skipp? Have a look at how Timo Pukki does in that Buendia left side with no Ollie Skipp behind. Have a look at how Max Aaron's potentially at the back there, who would be my defender of choice if you want to have a look at Norwich defenders at 4.5 with a little bit of attacking threat. Have a look and see how all of those guys settle in over the first 4 game weeks. And then from game week 5, be prepared to act if we see something that we like. Because from game week 5 onwards, if you have a look at the Fantasy Football Scout fixture ticker and search or sort by difficulty, from game week 5, Norwich fly absolutely from the bottom straight to the top. So Watford at home all the way to Newcastle away in game week 14. There's obviously that Chelsea away game in game week 9, which you'd want to avoid. That's going to be a difficult game for them. But look at that sea of blue outside there. Talk about a fixture swing there for Norwich. A real change in fortunes from a fixture perspective. So my advice would be very, very simple. Don't go into Norwich game week 1. Have a look at the first 4 game weeks. And if we see something we like, then maybe let's have a look at them from game week 5. Let me know in the comments, guys. This is a short video because I don't think there is too much that I want to add to my FPL team for game week 1 from Norwich. Yes, I'll be scouting Pukki. Yes, I'll be scouting Aaron's. I'll be having a look at how they adapt to the Premier League after having such a good year in the Championship. And one of the things we often say is the team that wins the Championship comes up and often does pretty well in the Premier League. But those teams tend to hold on to their players. So what Norwich are going to have to do is they're going to have to get the best out of Billy Gilmore, replace Ollie Skipp from that perspective. They're going to have to find some creativity and they have to put their hands in their pockets and buy more players over the summer to replace that quality and that creativity and that energy that arguably their best player, Buendia, gave them last season. I personally think Aston Villa have got him for a real snip, right? I think 30-40 million. Really good price for Buendia. If you want to have a look at him in FPL, wouldn't put you off him. But Norwich, I will put you off them for the first 4 game weeks. But then from game week 5, they are a team potentially to have a look at depending on what we see in the first 4 game weeks. Guys, let me know in the comments below. Are you going to go into Norwich early? You waiting? You're holding fire until game week 5? And if you are waiting until game week 5, who's going to be on your radar? Can Timo Pukki, now that he's a couple of years older, get that 20 plus goals that he got in the Championship last season? Can he keep up with the other goal machine coming up from the Championship, Ivan Toney? Can he keep up with him? And can they replace that creativity? Can they replace the quality that Buendia gave them? Let me know in the comments. Leave us a like before you go. Thanks for watching, all of you guys that are watching our deep dive series here on the channel over the course of the summer. Hit that subscribe button and the little notify bell so you know when the videos are live next. And we'll see you soon back here on the FPL Family channel. Cheers, guys.